Okay, people, hello. Wherever you are around the world, just want to check the sound before we go live, or well, I think we are live, but before we start speaking properly. I think we're good. So, hello everyone, wherever you are around the world, US, UK, Australia, India, everywhere else in between. And I just want to say that today we've got a very special live stream ahead of us. I am with the Imam of Peace, aka Imam Tawhidi. Imam Tawhidi, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you very much, my brother. Thank you for having me on.
It's an absolute pleasure. And for those people who have been living under a rock for the last few years and are not familiar with yourself, you are someone from Australia of a sort of Iraqi, Iranian background. You are a imam in Islam from a Shia background. And for the last 2 years, you've been very outspoken on some very important issues happening in the Muslim world or within Muslim communities within the Western world. And you have caused a reaction ranging from very positive, very negative, controversial. Is this guy real? Is he fake? You know, has he been in the same room, seen at the same time with Sacha Baron Cohen? I don't know why you have that same look. Sorry, I know. So, Sheikh, thank you so much for coming on. And you've also got a new book coming out, which is already out. That is called The Tragedy of Islam. So let's begin with that. The Tragedy of Islam, written by a Muslim Imam. How does that make sense? Because
admissions of a Muslim Imam.
Sorry?
The second title is Admissions of a Muslim Imam.
Ah, interesting. So this is an insider's perspective on your time as a Muslim or your time as an Imam and your sort of feedback to the rest of the world. Is that correct?
I am still a Muslim Imam, and that's just me speaking about certain struggles and difficulties within my religion.
Absolutely. What would you say right now, if I were to say, name me the top three things you could wave a magic wand to and change within the Muslim community or within Islam? What would those three things be for you?
The first would be the level of authority that the clerics have. The second would be the way the finances, Islamic finances, are collected and distributed. And thirdly is the strategy of infiltration of Islamists into Western societies and parliaments.
So when you say the parliaments, do you think there's been a real organized effort on the part of some Muslim organizations, or is this something which has happened organically within Muslim communities?
No, I don't think. I actually know. The Muslim Brotherhood have a charter. CARE is doing exactly that. Figures like Ilhan Omar, Al-Khatib, Sharifa, Rashida Tlaib, all of these, Linda Sarsour, they're all part of a strategy that wants to infiltrate the greatest country on earth, the most powerful country on earth, government-wise, and that is the United States. And that's what they're doing. Their aim is to create a line of communication with the Congress, have people in the Congress change laws, make laws. That's one of their tactics, and it's in their charter as the Muslim Brotherhood to have a global Islamic caliphate.
Wow. So you know what? That's a very big topic. So let's dig a bit deeper. So I want to first know your own opinions or your own take on religion, because a lot of people, when I say, oh, I'm interviewing Imam Tawhidi, they're like, what, Imam Tawhidi? Is he like, why is his views? Is he even a real Muslim? Is he a fake? Is this, is that? And I don't know, I've read many articles in the fake sheikh and all the rest of it, these accusations. So first question I would like to ask is, what are your views on the Prophet Muhammad? The sort of traditional view held by, I think, the majority of Muslims, as far as I'm aware, is that he is the perfect or the best of creation, and morally speaking, he is perfect. Would you agree with that or disagree with that?
Look, you can't ask me that question and expect a clear answer, because the Prophet Muhammad the Sunnis believe in isn't the Prophet Muhammad the Shias believe in, and the Prophet Muhammad the Ahmadiyyas believe in isn't the same Prophet Muhammad the Shias believe in. So it's not fair you ask me such a question and expect a straightforward answer. I'll tell you, the
Sure.
majority of Muslims, I try to be as honest as I can. The majority of Muslims do believe in a Muhammad that is a terrorist pedophile. I will not deny that. But do all Muslims believe in the same Muhammad? Do all Muslims come from the same school of thought? No. There are many denominations and many schools of thought within Islam, and many of them view Muhammad differently. If you ask me what is my version of Muhammad, I don't know. I don't know. Why would you hold the Bukhari against me when I don't agree with the Bukhari? I agree that the Bukhari is a nutcase. So why would I believe in his version of Muhammad in the first place? Bukhari is a psychopath. So why would I believe in his version of Muhammad? So
yeah, that's very interesting, because I think a lot of
do you see
people.
where I'm coming from? Do you see where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
We have to be very fair.
Absolutely, no. I agree with what you're saying. I think just like many other historical figures or religious figures, there are several Muhammads or several Jesuses and Moses or whatever you want to call it, and depending on who you ask, you get a different perspective on who the real Muhammad was. So, in your eyes, forget about the rest of the world. I mean, the rest of the world have their own opinion. In your eyes, who is Muhammad? Let's just put it that way. I mean, we can put the Bukhari to one side. If a non-Muslim who doesn't know much about Islam came up to Imam Tawhidi and said, Imam, I want to know more about the Prophet Muhammad, who was Muhammad?
According to my understanding, Muhammad was a regular individual with a message in the Arabian geographic region, who came from a very prominent family. Quraysh was his tribe, was married to a extremely wealthy woman. His message was accepted by numerous people. My ancestors being of those companions of his from the children of Hatim al-Ta'i. Muhammad then had political issues, social issues with the surrounding tribes, the surrounding kingdoms, and all of these wars that took place and the conflict that took place was part of the development of his religion, or the message that he came down with. If you're going to ask me about his message, it's the same message that Jesus came with. It's the same message as Moses when speaking fundamentally. So the fundamentals, that God is one and believe in God, worship God. There is a responsibility for humankind. There is heaven, paradise. There is hellfire. There is punishment. There is hereafter. These are the main pillars of Abrahamic religion. So, and one of the reasons why Islam is criticized the most is because they say it didn't bring anything new. I mean, it's already there. What did Islam bring? If you see where I'm coming from,
yeah.
Much of the Quran sounds like the Old Testament. So the way I see it is that there was an individual, a historic figure called Muhammad, who had a message. The message sits in line, fits perfectly with all other Abrahamic messages, the way they were at the time. So none of the Enlightenment or reformed versions of the Bible or anything like that. His message fit really well amongst those, and he had issues, and they were all part of the development of the religion.
So, I mean, you've couched that very sort of well in a sort of historical perspective, and you've given the sort of Abrahamic perspective and the Arabian perspective. But from a moral point of view, I mean, this is the real sort of problem that some people have with Muhammad as a prophet, especially the sort of non-Muslim audience. Is like, how could you morally hold this guy up to a level or a standard above everyone else? Do you have that same opinion, like this, that the Prophet Muhammad, morally speaking, according to you, forget what everyone else says, is someone that Muslims should imitate in their daily lives?
The Quran states that Muhammad is a human being just like yourselves.
So, okay, fair enough. I actually used to believe as well that the Prophet was a human being, but he had the best character and the best message. Would you also agree with that?
All prophets have to have the best character and best message, otherwise they can't be prophets.
Sure. So, morally speaking, you think he is infallible, if that's correct?
All prophets have to be infallible. That is a Shia Muslim concept. So Jesus Christ is infallible, Moses infallible, Abraham infallible, Adam, Noah, Jacob,
Yeah.
all of them, Daniel, Isaac, Zechariah, all of them have to be infallible. Otherwise, why follow a man who's just like me?
Absolutely. So this leads on to the next part, which is a lot of people say, you know what, if Muslims were to really practice their religion and really follow Muhammad, and you mentioned this before, they would be like ISIS. Now, how have we got from what you are saying is Muhammad, who is just like any other human being, but he's infallible, he's moral. How has Islam transformed from that, the ideal, to something which is sort of the complete antithesis or complete violence and brutality? How has that happened? I mean, is it just the Bukhari or is there something else as well?
No, it's actually Bukhari is the main, let's say, the main architect who drew the image of Muhammad. Just 200 years after Muhammad's death. So this guy came 2 centuries later, drew a figure, and turned it into a doctrine. So before Bukhari, we never really had a doctrine of jihad. There is no existing document before Bukhari that says who jihad is an obligation upon, who should be fighting, and what age, who should be fought, what will we do with the booty from the war, how to take people hostages. There was no actual Islamic document before Bukhari. And Bukhari turned jihad into an actual doctrine, an actual ideology, a farida, we would call it in Islamic jurisprudence, an obligation upon all Muslims. So Bukhari was the one who paved the way, and he quoted it saying, this is how the Prophet was like. And we don't know. I don't know. I don't know what the Prophet was like. I was born, nowhere near the Prophet.
Yeah.
And the one reporting about the Prophet is a liar. I mean, Bukhari can write about jihad and we can take it and say, yes, okay, this is how Muhammad was like. But Bukhari also spoke about Muhammad's sex life. He spoke in detail about Muhammad's sex life and the stamina of Muhammad and how he could satisfy 11 women in one night, and he had the power of 30 men. How did you know? Firstly, Bukhari is not an Arab. He doesn't speak Arabic. He's a blind man. He's from Bukhara in Persia. Never saw Muhammad. Never saw the people who saw Muhammad. Speaking absolute nonsense about his own beloved prophet's sexual life. I don't find him to be a reliable source. So just because ISIS believe in Bukhari does not mean that he's accurate.
So, okay, fair enough. You said a lot of stuff there, so I want to take it back one step. A lot of Muslims, whether they are Sunni or Shia, have to rely on the hadith for their daily lives, like praying, fasting, Hajj, so on and so forth. If we were to...
They don't have to.
You don't have to. So, for example, Hajj and all the other sort of practices, rituals, prayer, how do we pray and all the rest of it, as far as I'm aware, that's from the hadith. How do you reconcile that?
It's all in the Quran.
Even the times of prayer and how many times?
All of them are in the Quran.
Because every time I used to speak to a Muslim or sort of Ahl Hadith or whatever you want to call them, and say, you know what, I've got a problem with the Hadith because there's some. I mean, even the vibe of the Quran is a bit different from the vibe of the Hadith. It's very different. I'm like, I'm not really vibing the Hadith, right? And they're like, well, if you get rid of Hadith, how are you going to pray? How are you going to do Hajj? How are you going to do X, Y, and Z? So that's my main question: is how do we? I've got a problem getting rid of it. But from a methodological point of view, all the other practices.
It's all in the Quran. It's all in the Quran. Ask me which part of prayer do you want?
Okay, so what do I say in prayer? The physical actions, all that kind of stuff.
It's all in the Quran. Ask me which part. I'll answer you.
Well, okay, so how do I say if I'm a non-Muslim and I say, Imam Tawhidi, point to me the verse in the Quran that shows me how to physically pray, the movements and actions, so on and so forth.
Okay, you see, let me be very frank with you. These movements, they're not even agreed upon by all Muslims. The Sunnis fold their arms, the Shias let their hands to their sides. There is no actual agreed upon method of prayer. They're all in conflict with each other.
Right.
The Quran does say, it indicates certain things. Firstly, there's a verse that clearly shows that Allah wanted Adam wanted Adam to prostrate. I apologize, not Adam, wanted Satan to prostrate to Adam, and Satan refused. So the sujood, the prostration, was actually mentioned in the Quran. Another verse, وَيُؤْتُونَ الزَّكَاةَ وَهُمْ رَاكِعُونَ, and those who give their zakat while they are in the state of ruku', when the Muslim is bending over halfway. Now, the ruku' is mentioned in the Quran. The takbir is mentioned in the Quran. Giving zakah is mentioned in the Quran. Hajj, يَأْتُوكَ رِجَالًا, all of it is mentioned in the Quran. There is Salatul Jum'ah. Everything is mentioned in the Quran. I don't understand which part of it isn't mentioned in the Quran. The Fatiha, the Surah, everything is mentioned.
So you think that we can derive the similar? I know there's a bit of variance with Shia Sunni, and even with this, Sunni Islam, you have the Malikis who have their arms down, and like I think everyone else has their arms up or folded. But I mean, these are sort of small variations. But in general, like if I prayed with a Maliki, Shia Sunni, I would get what's going on. It wouldn't be like I'm like, well, I feel like I'm in a different religion. But you're saying that we can derive or come to the same conclusions that we have today without even looking at the hadith.
Look, let me just explain a bit more. The method of our Hajj today, the rotation around the Kaaba, didn't begin with Muslims or with Prophet Muhammad. People were rotating around the Kaaba from the time of Abraham. That's the cube in Mecca. In other words, many methods of prayer existed before Islam. The bowing down to the master existed. The prostration to the Lord or to the king or to the Pharaoh existed. There is no, I don't see where the problem is that a Muslim now wants to combine them together and worship God. Now, worshipping Allah isn't only done in prayer, it's done in the Quran, it's done in many things, in fasting. All of them have been covered in the Quran.
Okay, so this is the next point. How popular or how prevalent do you think your views are within the Muslim community? And do you think there's something which is physically possible for you to convince maybe even a small minority of people that, you know what, Bukhari is the real issue, or the hadith in general are a real issue and we need to move away from this? Or do you see this as like I remember once speaking to a Muslim and saying like, oh, you know what, we should get rid of hadith. And a lot of their sort of way of thinking is that, well, this is un-Islamic, not just simply a minority opinion, but this is almost like I'm going against the whole idea of Islam. How prevalent do you think your type of thinking is?
I don't have a problem. I've never faced a problem convincing anybody that Bukhari was a psychopath and an idiot. I've never had a problem doing that. And anyone who reads my book, and people who have read my book have thanked me. I never have a problem. So the reaction of the Muslims have always been good. All they have to do is read. The Muslims don't even read Bukhari. They take Bukhari from the Imam in the mosque. That's how they get Bukhari. Half of them the majority of Muslims don't even speak Arabic. The moment you send them a link from an online Bukhari portal teaching you how to stone the adulterer or the adulteress based on two monkeys stoning each other, like the moment, actually, do you have a computer open next to you?
Sorry? Yeah.
All right, let's do this. Go to Sahih, SAHIH -Bukhari.com, right?
Right. Yep.
SAHIH-Bukhari.com.
Yeah.
Did the green website come up?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the official Bukhari website. Search on the left there, write the word monkey.
Okay, this is the first. Sure. Oh yes, okay, the first one.
Read it for me.
Okay, so let me see if I can actually share the screen with you. So it says here, narrated by Amr bin Maymun. During the pre-Islamic period of ignorance, I saw a she-monkey surrounded by a number of monkeys. They were all stoning it because it had committed illegal sexual intercourse I too stoned it along with them. Volume 5, Book 58, number 188.
Yeah, and this is authentic hadith. This is like the most sacred book after the Quran, talking about and this is where stoning comes from. And many Muslims would like, extremists would like to justify stoning by taking the verse from the Quran. The problem is the verse in the Quran was eaten by a goat. So why are people still being stoned?
Okay,
See,
Sheikh.
I never have a problem because I know my stuff, man. I never have a problem convincing
Okay,
anyone
so this is
that
interesting.
is psychopath.
Sure. Okay, I'm going to put on my Muslim hat on for a second and say, Sheikh, yeah, Imam, this is a weak hadith. This
It's
is
not like hadith. Sahih means authentic Bukhari. Sahih Bukhari.
Sahih
Authentic.
Bukhari. Okay,
Yes.
so what if there's maybe a different? I mean, what if this is like this person, Amr bin Maymun, saw this,
Companion of the Prophet Muhammad, cannot be lying. He's a Sahaba.
but what if he's what if he's a fabricator or someone who's untrustworthy?
If he's a fabricator, then that's actually exactly what I want. I want someone to tell me he's a fabricator, because then the whole book goes in the rubbish bin.
Okay.
I want it to be wrong. I'm not defending it. I'm not saying this actually happened. I want someone to tell me this guy's a liar. This is actually in my interest, because then the whole book becomes unreliable, and that's how we destroy their whole faith.
Okay, so because I actually this is an interesting topic, stoning, because I was speaking to Sheikh Shabir Ali. He's from Canada. Earlier this year, and he said that stoning is not something which we would consider a necessary part of Islam. Muslims were influenced by other religions, pagans, Christians, Jews in their time, and stoning was a practice that was borrowed from them.
No, Muslims always like to throw the blame on the Hindus and the Christians and the Syriacs and other tribes, and say it was them and they influenced. And in modern time, we see the blame is on the Jews. The Jews put these hadith over here. The Jews, no. This is our problem, and we need to own it. Right? This is Sahih Bukhari. This has existed. This monkey teaching has existed 200 years, since 200 years after the death of Prophet Muhammad, right? So it wasn't taken from any religion. Arabia, the whole region was conquered, and this came out. No one in Islam was the religion that was conquering and invading and influencing. Nobody was influencing anything on Islam. In fact, this very tactic of stoning was made to kill non-Muslims and Muslims who left the religion, or Muslims who left the higher level of piety and stopped being religious. So it's not in the benefit of Muslims to say that we borrowed it from somewhere else, because you can't borrow something from the Christians and then stone them with their own teachings. It doesn't work like that. This is an Islamic concept based on monkey teachings. That's basically exactly what it is.
So of course, I mean, you get people saying that there's stoning in the Old Testament. So it's not a big jump to go from there to, to borrow that from the Old Testament, when there's many different stories about Moses and different prophets that have come from that tradition as well. So why can't this one be just part of that whole tradition?
That's blasphemy. You can't do that, because Muslims don't believe that the Old Testament is exactly the word of God. Do you see what I mean? They believe the Bible, the Muslims, including myself, believe that there's a special Bible hidden and that this is not the real Bible. That's exactly what we were taught.
Right. I see.
And you were taught that as well. The current Bible is not the real Bible, and the current Torah, not the real Torah. The real ones, God has them. And the very Quran is not the real Quran. It's preserved on a tablet. So it won't make sense taking something from the book of John and applying it as the word of Allah. It doesn't work like that.
So you mentioned earlier, and I actually saw this on Armin Navabi's channel, which I think is a great channel. You had a conversation with this Daniel Hakiki. I can't say his last name. Hakika Jew. Yeah, that's the one.
It's funny. He's an extremist Muslim, and his surname's Haqiqa Jew, the reality of the Jew.
Oh, is that what it means? Hakika Jew. Is that the? Oh, Hakik. Yes, of course. That means truth. Yes, of course. Yeah.
No. His surname
Yeah.
Jew is taken from the word Justan in Farsi, which means to seek, to search.
Ah.
But
Okay.
it's just, we
Yeah,
mock
yeah,
him.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's
He
funny.
sounds like a Jew.
He sounds like a Jew.
I don't have a problem with Jews. I love my Jewish brothers. I'm just saying he's the extremist Muslim, and he's got Jew in his surname next to the word haqiqat, which means truth. So pretty
Alarm bells are
ironic.
ringing. Alarm bells are ringing. Of course, of course. But that was a very, very interesting conversation. That was the first time I heard you say that a verse of the Quran was eaten by a goat, and this is obviously the verse referring to stoning. Now, for me as a Muslim, when I hear that, I'm like, so are you saying that the Quran is incomplete? And I mean, this is the central claim of any Muslim, that the Quran is complete, it's never been changed, never been altered, and this is something which Muslims will die by. And to their credit, even people that have gone back in time or tried to find historical artifacts haven't found a quote unquote different verse of the Quran. Now, when you say that, for me, the central claim of Islam said this is protected by God. How can you believe that?
Firstly, what I said was not a statement, it was a quote. Bukhari says the goat,
Ah,
and I had the books there to show him. Bukhari says Muhammad was delusional, not me. I have nothing to do with this. I don't want to get killed. I'm just quoting. It's his book, his problem. Not my book, not my problem.
so Imam Tawhidi doesn't believe that there was a verse about stoning, and that verse was eaten by a goat. You're just saying Bukhari
There
said
was
this.
no stoning to begin with, all man-made.
Okay, so fair enough. Now, this.
It's
So,
like that. It's like that. I didn't do my homework and my dog ate it. Exactly the same. There is no stoning verse, but there was, but the goat ate it.
but the goat ate it. So I want to talk about something which you get a lot of criticism about, is that Imam Tawhidi, man, he's just playing a sectarian game, Sunni Shia, nothing different. Are there books in the Shia tradition, like hadith books in the Shia tradition, that have also taken Islam away from its true essence? Like you were saying earlier, that Muhammad was this, and now we have Islam, which looks like this. Is there a similar parallel within the Shia tradition as well?
Correct. Yes, we do. We have many books and many figures, such as Shalmaghani, who played a big role in the when how Shias always followed the Imams and the
Yes.
infallibles. When the 11th infallible, the 11th Imam departed from this world, his son Al-Mahdi, the Shias believe, went into occultation and has never been seen since. After that, scholars came to the scene. One of them was Shalmaghani, and we have many corrupt scholars that have appeared since then. So I do speak about the difficulties within Shia Islam, and my book has an entire chapter called The Difficulties of Shia Islam and Shia Islamic Governance. An entire special chapter. Even the Sunnis don't have a special chapter in my book, but the Shias do.
Fair enough. So I want to talk about.
Accuse me of being sectarian
Yeah.
is the cheapest, easiest way to get away from a debate with me. And all right, throw something at me. How am I sectarian?
So you go after Bukhari. Bukhari is the most sacred.
I also go after the Shia. So Bukhari is a scholar. Bukhari wasn't a companion of Muhammad and was not a family member of Muhammad. Bukhari was a scholar. And the Shia have many scholars such as Khomeini. The only difference between them is time and the accessibility of their work. I can access Bukhari and I can access Khomeini, and both of them come from the same mentality, different schools of thought, but same Islamist mentality of jihad. I criticize both of them, no problem. But what the people who accuse me of being sectarian do, they say Tawhidi speaks about Aisha, the wife of Muhammad.
Yeah.
Right? Muhammad's my prophet and she's his wife. How is that sectarian? Okay. Unless they're saying that Aisha only belongs to them.
Right.
Is she the wife of my prophet? Then I speak about her however I like. My prophet and his wife. I speak about them both however I like. Not Islamophobia, not sectarian. I speak, and I also speak about the companions of Ali. I don't have a problem. I speak about them. I criticize them. I believe many of them wronged the Imam of their time. I speak about them, no problem. The people who play the sectarian card are people who have nothing better to do. Who is Aisha? One of the filthiest women this planet has ever seen, right? And people say Tawhidi disrespects the fathers-in-law of Muhammad. You know, I'm divorced. I don't even care. I didn't even care about my own father-in-law. You want me to care about the father-in-law? I don't care about fathers-in-law. I deal with them as historical figures.
Okay. So this is interesting. Let's talk about Aisha, because she has been a figure of controversy for several reasons. Now, you said this is something which I have, even as an ex-Muslim, I have trouble understanding. You're saying that Aisha was very promiscuous, putting it lightly. According to which books, or which because if you're saying that all the hadiths are made up and fabricated, then which source are we going by then?
Look, when I say all the hadiths are fabricated, it does not mean I cannot use them against people who believe in them. Right? So if they believe in these books, they are their book. I don't care about Aisha's sexual life. I couldn't care less. I only care about what they taught me. So when you
is this like in this Sunni hadith, like saying that Aisha was very
even Shia hadith, it's a crime in Iran to criticize Aisha according to the Shia Islamic government, fatwa from Khamenei. So I don't have a problem, you know, if Aisha is a pure woman, good. I don't have a problem. If she's innocent, good. But according to our sources, she's not. On top of that, you want to force me to believe in her and consider her mother of the believers. No, I'm not gonna. What kind of mother of the believers slept with half of the Arabian elite? According to your own books. And she said, do not bury me next to Muhammad because I did things behind his back. I don't know what his position is from me. Bury me somewhere else. Right? So I can't really help.
No, that's which books in Sunni Islam speak of Aisha in that light, about, you know, she...
Okay. My book has something very special. And this special thing about my book is that you can access the references that I have used with one click. So you can go to my website and access all of the references that I have used. And in my book, I've broken down in detail that Aisha could have never have been 9 years old or 6 or any of that. She was a lady who was not a virgin, and they pushed her age back to make her a virgin for Muhammad's reputation. Whereby the reality is she was not a virgin and had been around, most likely married according to the traditions of that time, possibly even divorced. And Sunnis agree with me on this analysis. And I've put the evidence there, and luckily many of them are also translated into English. So the actual original Islamic sources are there with one click. Let's say, for example, you have an issue with number 46, you'd like to check it thoroughly. You go to my website, number 46, you'll find it there, and you can take it, translate it. Anything wrong, I'm responsible.
Okay, so the next question would be, the next obvious one was, why did Muhammad even marry Aisha? I mean, if she's such a, you know, promiscuous person and untrustworthy, and she does things behind the Prophet's back that, you know, is not befitting of a Prophet's wife, why did he agree to marry her?
Well, the wife of Noah wasn't a good woman, and the wife of Lot, Prophet Lot, L-O-T, also wasn't a good woman, and these are issues mentioned in the Quran. And by the way, I'm not judging them. I'm just saying what the Quran says. ضرب الله مثلا in the ayat al-Tahrim. So these women were not good. So it's okay for a prophet to marry a lady that's not good for political reasons. Muhammad married Aisha for political reasons. Her father, Abu Bakr, wanted to kill Muhammad. Omar wanted to kill Muhammad before they became Muslim.
Oh, before they Muslim, yeah.
Yes, okay. Before these were the chiefs of Arabia. They wanted to kill Muhammad. And Muhammad secured his life by marrying a lady from 11 prominent Arabian tribes. So now that he was the son-in-law of all of these tribes, nobody was going to kill him, because if someone killed him, they'd have to answer to 10 major tribes. This is our son-in-law. So this was a strategy for Muhammad. And let me tell you something. Muhammad married many women I do not agree with and I don't like, such as Hafsa, the daughter of Umar. But you don't see me bashing Hafsa, because Hafsa did not play a political role, did not lead an army, did not massacre people, right? So I couldn't care less about Hafsa. I don't care how many boyfriends I don't care who she breastfed, I don't care who she slept with. I only care about political figures who became the people who inspired Al-Qaeda and ISIS and this ideology, this militant ideology within Islam, both men and women. I don't care about their sexual life. I only care about what they do when it comes to other human beings, and they weren't good people.
Okay, so I want to one more question on this, and then we'll go to something else. Maybe this is a what do you want to call it? A Sunni thing, because my background is Sunni. So actually, I remember the first time I was exposed to Shia ideology, or the Shia version of Islam. I was very intrigued. I'm like, wow, this is so much more interesting, because in Sunni Islam, everyone loves everyone. There is no beef. You know, everyone loves everyone. Everything's hunky dory. But in Shia Islam is like, oh, by the way, this guy doesn't like this guy. He doesn't like him. They had a beef. It's like, wow, man, this is like this is almost like would you want to call it like the gossip of a magazine. I don't mean to degrade it to that level, but I mean, it's almost like this person had beef with that person. So maybe this is where I'm struggling to understand. But I did appreciate a bit more of a reality within Shia Islam. However, if Abu Bakr and Umar and Aisha, these people have had a negative impact on Islam, how is it that the Prophet, his judgment has been so bad that he's aligned himself, married people that, like you say, are either, like I think you also mentioned somewhere else, where Aisha, according to Bukhari, she's a terrorist and she's promiscuous, and the way that Islam spread in the early days was very violent. How is it that the Prophet aligned himself with these people? Surely the first thing he would have done is, I want nothing to do with Umar, nothing to do with Abu Bakr, and I'm not going to marry Aisha, regardless whether it's political or not.
Okay, let me answer you very, very briefly. One, politics has no religion whatsoever. If it's a political strategy, leave religion and spirituality and piety and what people think and morality out of it. If it's politics, it's politics. Right. Finished. So Muhammad's movements, according to my understanding, were all politics. And I encourage your viewers to read my book. My book, 4,028 hours, 575 days of writing. It's a serious book. Read it, you'll find many things interesting. And everything I say is backed by evidences. When it comes to politics, it's politics. Don't tell me why did Muhammad do this or why. It's politics. Today we have many leaders. We like the leader, but everyone around the leader is corrupt. In politics, he needs them there. They need to be there. You see, it's politics.
That's a very interesting, almost refreshing review, because you're almost humanizing the Prophet Muhammad. Because when Muslims think of the Prophet Muhammad, it's like he can do no wrong, everything is untouchable. Like,
he's a human being.
Yeah, so even with political moves, social move, marital life, whatever you want to call it, everything is.
Even if we were to say that Muhammad was not, okay, look, he's dealing with people like you and me. He's dealing with regular humans. Therefore, the politics he has to apply is regular human politics.
Wow.
So if he needs to apply regular human politics, then he needs to marry from the big tribes to save himself. It's regular human politics.
Realpolitik, as I said. Wow, that's amazing. So, okay, let me talk about something else. Reform. Do you consider yourself a reformer? Because I know that word is seen as like a dirty word within Muslim circles. Oh, reform, are you trying to Westernize or Christianize or whatever you want to call it? Water down Islam. You guys are just pandering to the West and what they want. Are you a reformist? And second question, what does reform even mean?
Okay. Well, firstly, I don't believe Islam can be reformed. So I am not a reformer in the sense that I'm reforming religion. Two, I am a reformist in the sense that I work on the reformation of Muslim societies in the West. Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi referred to himself as a reformer. Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab referred to himself as a reformer. There are many types of reformers. I just work on a social level.
So you're not reforming the doctrines of Islam. You're saying you're reforming what
Cannot be reformed.
Okay, why cannot they be reformed? Let's start with
Cannot
that.
be reformed because, firstly, also again, I've explained this in my book. Islam is believed by all Muslims to be a religion from God. That's a fact they believe in. Reform would be man-made, and nobody would leave what came from God to then adhere to what man is putting forward. It doesn't work like that.
Right. So Islam is what it is. We can't change it. And
No.
so I'm trying to understand. Okay. So how then? So you're saying Islam is basically the Quran and nothing else?
The Quran and not all of the ahadith, some hadith.
How do I, as a human being, know which one is true and false?
Well, if someone tells you two monkeys are being stoned because one monkey ran away and slept with another monkey, you know that's rubbish, because since when did monkeys need a marriage contract, marriage procedure?
Okay, sure. I mean, but that's the more sort of obviously controversial, kind of ridiculous one. But I mean, there are many others like that sound normal, like be good to neighbor or pray this way or
Existed
whatever.
in other existed in other religions. So if it's in the hadith, then it's clearly right.
Sorry, say that again. Sorry, that if it's just like a normal saying, how do I differentiate? Is this from Islam or is this just someone made this up?
Look, it does not make a difference. If we have something in the book that says, for example, respect your parents, love for your neighbor what you love for yourself, and someone says, oh, that belongs to Jesus Christ, okay, Jesus Christ is also a prophet.
Right, but what I'm saying, what's the methodology here? I mean, surely it can't be just pick, oh, I like this one, I like that one, this one is a bit controversial.
Logic. It's all logic. Me, if I am studying hadith, the first thing I do is I place it according to my understanding. Is this right or wrong? If it's wrong, then it's wrong. I will never say the problem is with my brain and the book is okay. Never happens. If my brain accepts it first, then I will go on to the second method of trying to understand the origins of it. Third method would be to find out whether this is authentic or not. And then fourth, I would then go and see who else has narrated this and believed in it before I accept it. And then who narrated it? Who were these people? And there's a serious science behind all of this.
Yeah.
And a filtering, a vetting. But the first one is, does my brain accept it or not? If it doesn't, I'll never take it. I won't even vet it. If my brain doesn't accept it, it's finished.
Okay, so I like the fact that your first criteria or your first testing method is logic, but obviously people are going to say, you are a man of the 21st century, you're educated, your logic is not the same logic as someone living 500 years ago, because they knew less. So how do we determine?
They say Islam is the religion of logic. They're the ones who say, not me. Don't they teach us this? That the Quran is based upon logic and based upon intellect. They say, why is it that you say Islam is a religion of logic, and when I use my logic, you want to behead me? Why?
So okay, but then again, they would say, I'm putting on my Muslim hat on, brother, please, our logic is limited. Akhi, why are you doing this to me? Brother, our logic is limited, right? Allah's logic is, absolute. So there are things that we understand in Islam that make sense for us. There's something that we don't understand. And for that, we must submit.
Talking to me. Why is Allah talking to me if He knows that He won't make any sense? If He knows that I won't understand Him, why is He talking to me?
He is the creator. He knows you better than you know yourself.
Okay, then if he knows me, then he shouldn't be speaking to me, because he knows I can't understand him. So why is he speaking to me?
Okay, so that's an interesting point. So you're simply okay. So this is. So are you saying that we almost have to employ some sort of Socratic method or some, I don't know what you like, basic logic, regardless of what religion you believe in, to verify hadith? This is simply it. Does it make sense? And when you say makes sense, what do you mean sense? In what sense does it make sense? Like, is it in line with the Quran?
It all comes down to respecting one's mentality, respecting your brain. That's exactly what it comes down to. Respecting yourself. When you see a tradition or report that orders you to kill and behead, I mean, honestly, not everyone is born a terrorist. People are indoctrinated because they are taught that they don't have to respect themselves.
Okay, but again, I get what you're saying, and you don't have to convince me, but I'm saying that depending on where you live and what time you live, beheading or killing someone may be seen as something which is normal or necessary. I mean, if you live in a violent country or a violent time, and you come across a hadith that is speaking in that language, you think, yeah, well, this would make sense because I'm next to a tribe that is very violent, and in order to defend myself, if I need to kill them, I will kill them. If I need to take their women, I'll take their women. How does one, like, there has to be some sort of universal method, or rather, is there a universal method in determining which hadith, or even which hadith is true, or even how to interpret the Quran?
Okay, well, let's not get into interpreting the Quran, because there are thousands of interpretations, and not even thousands, hundreds of thousands of interpretations.
Yeah.
So you have to choose which one, either Quran or Hadith, that we speak about. But if you're going to ask me about, let's say, contextualizing the Hadith, firstly, which Hadith are you referring to? How do we know it's real? How do we know it's authentic? Then we can understand the society that it took place in. Then we can analyze what society was like and what we should learn from that. Until now, you're just telling me hadith. I don't know which is right, which is wrong. So you need to show me which one.
Okay, that's fair enough. Now I want to.
By the way, brother,
please.
Can I just go get my charger, because my laptop?
No problem. Please.
7%, 5% now. Just give me 1 second. I'll get my charger. I'll be back in a minute.
No problem.
Less than a minute.
No worries. Okay, peeps. While we wait for Imam Tawhidi, I hope everyone is having a good time. Hope everyone is enjoying it. Let's go through the comments. Veedu is respectful. Okay, that's fine. Oh, GM's in the house.
GMS is in the house.
GM Skeptic in the house. I think Veedu's here. Thank you so much, GM. My main man. How's it going? What else we got? We got around 254 people. That's probably the most people I've ever had on live stream. So thank you everyone for tuning in. We've got Carl Rucker podcast in the house. Kushal, how you doing, my main man? So yes, hope everyone is enjoying it. I'm gonna ask the Imam about some other stuff now. Hopefully you guys will remain tuned in. About this is I want to make this more political now. About the Imam's more political things he said. I think we've done enough theology. Do you think? Yeah.
Yeah, but also we're gonna take questions. Yeah?
I'll try and go through questions if we have time. The Imam only has an hour, so I don't want to. I want to get as much as possible in this hour. Yes, the beard. Imam Tawhidi, you think of him what you may. He has an absolutely fantastic beard. Honestly, very well groomed, and I'm jealous. Genuinely, I've got such a patchy beard. I can only dream of having such a thick. What's the word I'm looking for? Shiny. That's what I'm gonna say. I've had some questions from some Patreons, and I will definitely ask those questions to Imam Tawhidi. If you want to support this channel, you're more than welcome to do so on Patreon. VeeduVids on Patreon, whatever you can give, that'd be great. I'm having more of these conversations in the future as well. I've had a conversation with Sheikh Atabek, so I will be releasing that very shortly as well. The Imam is back. Imam Sab, are you? I want to change gears. We've discussed a lot of theology. I want to discuss politics because a lot of what you have said has political impact or political sort of effects, or you speak to politicians or people involved in politics and activism. So let's go for. Please correct me if I'm wrong on this. I think you said about that the UK should have checkpoints or cameras in the mosques if they're teaching Wahhabi sort of ideology. Is that correct?
I did say that before. Now they do have cameras actually.
Oh, really? In the
Yes.
in which mosques in the UK?
I can't say which
Oh,
mosques.
okay.
I work with intelligence services, and many Muslims, they call me spy, whatever. That's up to them. I openly cooperate with intelligence services, and there are mosques in the UK that have cameras and have everything in a form they've never seen before. So it's very, very complicated and also very simple. And look, it's complicated because the Muslim will never think this is happening, the extremist Muslim. So yes, there are certain mosques that have surveillance inside the congregation in the very near circles of the imams. And I can't say which one. But anyway, most extremists are always alert that we might be seen, so they don't do everything publicly. They don't say everything publicly. But no, before I said they should, now they do. It has nothing to do with my recommendation. It was just a plan, I think, that the intelligence in the UK had. And yeah, now they have cameras and people who report regularly, yeah.
So putting on my secular liberal hat, I've taken off my Islamic hat off now. Is this not violating, I don't know, civil liberties or individual liberties that people can congregate and have their religious institutions, mosque, church, whatever you want to call it, and have a conversation without being spied upon?
Really? These guys want to kill us. You're telling me they have rights. They want to butcher us, man. You're telling me. So now hold on. Why is it that a guy that wants to apply Sharia law in the UK, also wants to live by democratic laws? How does that? So you want to apply democracy on us and then use it to bring an end to democracy and then bring on Sharia law? Why? Why do that? Look, I'm not a politician. Yeah. I'm not a politician. I don't play with these laws. Oh, the rights. They want to kill me. They want to kill us. Of course, we're going to put cameras in there. And if you don't put cameras in there, then I will not trust you as a government. This is the way I see it. People can call it a police state, call it whatever they like it. I'm from the Middle East. That's what the Middle East do. Islamic governments spy on mosques. Hizb ut-Tahrir is banned in Saudi Arabia. They have parades in London and in Sydney, right? Muslim Brotherhood banned in Saudi Arabia. They operate in America. What are you talking about? Muslim governments don't put up with these radical jihadis. Why is the UK putting up with them? You're worried about a camera? The least they can do is spy on them. The least they can do, if not deport them.
Okay. Before we get to deportation, how do you define, again, because there's a range of opinions on this, as in there are Muslims who believe in Sharia law, but they don't really want the UK to be Sharia state. They defend it because they feel like they have to. I'm speaking to many Muslims who love living in the West, who enjoy the liberties that we have here. But if you ask them about Sharia law, they're like, oh yeah, it's good. But I ask them, like, seriously, do you actually want this country to be Sharia law? No, we don't want it to be Sharia law. But they feel like they have to intellectually defend it because that's what the Imam has told them. Would you spy on those people, or would you only spy on the people that are actively working to change the laws of this country?
No, I believe that governments should be watching only the imams and the leaders of the Islamist communities, and especially the imams that come in from Saudi Arabia to preach in Ramadan and then leave back. Those 1 month, 2 month imams, those temporary ones, do more damage than anybody else. Those ones need to be spied on their phones, what's happening, who they're meeting with, how much money are they bringing with them, any agreements being made, transactions. These are the things that we need to take into account.
Okay. I want to give you a question from a Patreon of ours who has said, why doesn't the Imam talk about bigotry towards Muslims? This is a question from a Patreon who said, because I think the question is like, you highlight a lot of the bad things Muslims do or that Islam does. Why not the other way around?
Okay. Hold on a second. I'm just on my phone now. So tell your Patreon to go to my Twitter page.
Is that at Imam of Peace?
Yeah. And 15 hours ago, I tweeted how wonderful it is for a Muslim woman to be decorating a Christian pastor's house with Christmas trees. And I said that was beautiful. 15 hours ago as well, I said this is beautiful. Muslim volunteers serving meals on Christmas Eve in Detroit. I regularly post positive things on my Twitter feed. There's, in fact, the balance is there's no balance. I post more good things than negative things. But if one day it doesn't exist, I'm not going to make it up. If it doesn't exist, I'm not going to. Muslims say, why does the media attack us? Why do these people only show the bad side? Okay, you show the good side. Why don't you show the good side? I'm showing the good side. He's complaining. He clearly hasn't been following enough. But anyway.
Okay. So if you could follow Imam on the Imam of Peace on Twitter, that'd be great. This is an interesting question because I think this again by another Patreon. He says, okay, so Imam Tawhidi is focused on the core of Islam, the holy books apart from the Quran and the clerics. But how should Western countries like Germany, for example, deal with the growing numbers of people who were born here and are conflicted about their origins? Should we allow teachers to wear headscarves, for example? Is that Islamization, or is it simply living alongside Muslims peacefully? How do we talk with our Muslim friends about this topic? Most Muslims are fed up with this topic and the accusations anyway. How can we have this discussion?
Well, you just threw a few questions at me all at once. I'm going to need some time to break them down. However, a headscarf does not mean extremism. A teacher wearing a headscarf doesn't mean she's an extremist. It just means that the school is telling her to wear a headscarf as part of the teacher's uniform, like the private Muslim schools I went to. That very teacher could be someone who you'll see your teacher in the shop, like exactly how it happened with us. We went to school or university and the teacher's wearing a hijab because it's a private Muslim school or college, and then the same weekend we'll see the teacher in the shopping center with no hijab and all blonde hair. What's happening, Mrs.? Or we'd call him sister. The same teacher might not be wearing hijab. So there is no Islamization that can be derived from that teaching. Burqa, on the other hand, is a big problem. I agree with you. So that's to begin with. Secondly, how do we deal with it? The West should stop focusing on Islamic theology. Leave it alone. You don't understand it. You will never be able to contribute to it. You'll never be able to change it. You'll never be able to fix it. Leave it alone. Focus on national security instead. That's something you can do something about, and that's something you'll find many Muslims interested in joining you, uniting with you on, and also against the extremists. Put your energy and your resources in an area where you can make a difference in, and that is national security. Leave what the Quran says alone. Leave that for other people. You can't change it. It's finished. Do you know how many Qurans are printed every day? Do you know how many trains of Quran loaded trains are being shipped here and there? What are we doing with a blog thinking you can stop? What are you doing? Leave it alone. Focus on national security. You'll see faster results.
That's interesting. So just so I'm clear, you think that if a woman wears hijab and teaches in a school, of course, there are not every school. We're talking about normal schools, not Islamic schools. allow the women to wear hijab or whatever it is, you think that's perfectly fine if it's her choice and no one's forcing her and she's just teaching and she's doing a fantastic job, no problem.
Brother, the feminists hate me so much because I never give them a chance to attack me. And the best way they can attack me by saying anti-women is by, pinning me on this question. And I will answer it the same way all the time. Let women wear whatever they wish to wear. Hijab or no hijab. However, when it comes to the burqa, that's an issue of national security. That's not feminism. That's not liberty. That's not human rights. That's national security. When a police officer says, show your face to identify yourself, and if your license matches you, if your passport matches you in border security, border control, and if she says no, that's against national security, that's against security. So a burqa is a different issue. As for hijab, wear whatever you like. I couldn't care less. Wear Gucci, LV, pink, red, blue, I don't care. As long as you're not harming the country. Many grannies with Queen Elizabeth wears it sometimes. I can't tell her not to wear it.
Absolutely. So do you think there's a serious integration problem? I mean, I was watching one of your podcasts or one of your interviews where you said that Islamic immigration in Australia has failed. Do you think it has also failed in Europe? If so, what are the consequences going forward?
Look, Islamic immigration has failed only because the governments are weak. Governments are really weak. Don't live in this illusion that they control everything. The real government are the police, are the intelligence services. They are the ones holding this country together, holding all countries together. They're the ones giving briefings to these dumb politicians, and the politicians act upon them. The politicians don't know what to do. They don't know. They have 100 advisors, advisor for this, advisor for that. They don't know what to do. They're just a figure representing all the donors and the corporate bureaucrats. They're nobody. The government rules nothing, just an image. The real government are the police, the intelligence services. They are the ones who manage the country. As for policies, these things, they're very basic repetitions that they come and go. Politicians come and go. National security stays. The concept and the formulas and the modules of national security departments stays. Politicians change, governments change, policies change. National security will always remain concrete. It's the same module they apply to solve every problem. They are a government without national security is not a government.
Yeah.
Without intelligence departments, not a government. However, intelligence departments without a government will always remain powerful. They don't need, you find in times where there's a revolution or when there's an issue, it's the army that takes control. Intelligence services are the ones that govern the country, not the politicians. Now, what was your question again? Sorry?
That's okay. With regards to immigration and integration within the West, how do you think Muslims have failed? Is it success? Is it mixed? What is the future of Europe, Australia when it comes to Muslim immigration or integration?
Okay. Two things we need to take into consideration. One, has the government been successful in making the country a multicultural country? That's one. Two, has multiculturalism been a successful idea? Is two. So one, yes, all these European governments have been very successful in bringing in refugees, bringing people, multicultural society. Yeah, they've been very successful in doing that. But have they succeeded in their plan of turning their countries and nations into multicultural nations, multicultural societies? Of course not. Of course not. A week doesn't go by without a terrorist attack in the West. How is that success?
Okay, so I'm just playing devil's advocate. This, as bad as the terrorist activity is, the vast majority of Muslims are not involved in terrorism. They go to work, they go to the football matches, they get on with their lives, and by and large, Muslims contribute positively. They work and so on and so forth. So that is the sort of extreme example or the extreme sort of fringe of Muslim society within the West. And they could say that, terrorist attacks or these types of violent attacks happen, even within the far right, white nationalism, so on and so forth. What do you have to say to those arguments?
Okay, firstly, it is very wrong to compare or to even equate the extremists with regular Muslims. What the right thing to do is say, okay, we've got extremists. Who do we compare them with? You see, an extremist is not a regular person. An extremist is a scholar. They know the Quran. They believe they're here to establish the caliphate. Each one of them is a mini scholar, is a mini cleric. You see them when they give out videos, when they're beheading people, the way they talk, they're all mini sheikhs. All of them.
Mini sheikh.
Yeah, they're all little sheikhs, little clerics. ISIS is a combination of little clerics. That's what they are. When you speak to them, they'll give you a verse from the Quran. They lead prayers. They do this and they act like the caliph. They act like clerics. They're not regular people. They're not regular Muslims that became radicalized. No, they're actual scholars in their ideology. I'm beheading this guy because of this verse, because of this hadith. They know what they're doing. They're not mentally ill like what the Westerners want us to believe. They're very smart and very calculated and very educated in their extremist ideology. So it's very wrong to compare these two together. What I do is I compare them with the more moderate imams. Okay, the UK has 500 clerics, moderate imams, who the government doesn't have a problem with. Why is it that when one terrorist attack happens, I don't hear 50 imams condemning? Why? Why is it that I have to put up with a Sadiq Khan that says it's part and parcel of living in a big city? Right? Why is Sadiq Khan the spokesperson? Why can't we have 50 imams with their turbans and everything saying, you know what, this guy was wrong? It won't happen. It won't happen. So if that doesn't happen, then multiculturalism has failed.
Okay. Now, to be fair, a lot of imams in the past have come out and said that, we condemn what's happening.
How many?
Well, I don't have the numbers, unfortunately. This is not something which I don't know how many imams there are and how many as a percentage have said, we condemn, we don't condemn. But I have heard many imams in the past say that we condemn terrorist attacks, and this is something which we want to distance ourselves from. Of course, I would go further and say, well, we need to sort out our own issues within the Muslim community and the sort of environment that leads to this sort of behavior in the first place. But one thing that I thought about, the 7-7 guys in the UK, when they first wanted to sort of proselytize and recruit, they went to the mosque and they actually got kicked out of the mosque because the mosques in the UK, like maybe in many other Western countries, are run by uncles. They're run by our granddads who just want to pray. It's like a men's club. They have their own chit chat, and they don't have the time or the energy for youth coming in and doing their political activism about Palestine and brother in Iraq and brother in this and brother in that. So they're like, get out of the mosque. We don't have time for you. They actually got kicked out of the mosque, and they ended up having their discussions outside of the mosque in the underground area. Now, would you say that the mosque has done their job in ejecting these types of characters from their institution or grounds? If someone's saying we need Khalifa or this and that, it's like, mate, piss off. We don't have time. This is a place to pray and worship, not a place for political activism.
Actually, in fact, many of these groups originate from within the mosque. And the main reason why they are kicked out isn't because of a conflict in ideology. No. It's because of power. Who is going to run the show in the mosque? That's why they're kicked out. They're not kicked out because their message is wrong. No, maybe they speak English. The mosque wants to speak Urdu, but the majority of the people in the mosque speak English. But it's about authority. It's about finances. It's about understanding the ins and outs, the documents, right? The image of the mosque. That's why they're kicked out. Okay, they were kicked out. Where do they go? They have their meetings. Then where do they go? They go home. Who's at home? The father and the mother. That attend which mosque? The very mosque they were kicked out of. It's all the same community. They just saying, don't operate in this. This is my area. It's all territorial. It's basically that. Most of these, in fact, at every mosque I know has a youth branch to it. a youth committee, scouts, schools, weekend, all these things. So to kick them out, do you know that most of these Hezbollah marches in London and in Sydney and Hizb ut-Tahrir events are all arranged inside mosques?
That's interesting. Okay, so a lot of the times you hear the parents of the, you know, if there's like a terrorist attack, you hear the parents saying, "I had no idea, he was a good boy," and some of them may be genuine. I'm not saying they're all lies or anything, but when you hear this type of stuff and you are an imam, what do you think when someone says, I mean, it does happen with, I mean, not even in an Islamic sense. For example, let's say, for example, someone goes out and shoots up a school or whatever it is, and I would say that the parents aren't paying attention. How on earth have you allowed your son or daughter to either be radicalized, they've gone to ISIS or whatever it is, or to commit such a violent act in the first place? But they're like, we had no. What I'm trying to say is, they may not be genuinely encouraging the son or daughter to do this. Do you believe that, or do you think no, this is all their parents are in on this?
Look, my brother, let me be frank and controversial with you again.
Oh wait, are we being controversial now? Sorry, I thought we were just checking. Go on, please.
Okay, look, whenever there's a terrorist attack, someone comes and says he was mentally ill. Okay, for me, if you want me to believe he was mentally ill, show me documents.
Okay.
Show me documents. Show me a history of this guy visiting a doctor, and what were the developments?
Right.
And why did the doctor fail to treat his issue? Show me at least a portfolio going back 2-3 years, not the moment he does something or mentally ill. Who's the doctor? Doesn't exist. Which clinic did he attend? Doesn't exist. What was his progress like? We don't know. Was he on medication? No comment. Spare me then. Don't waste my time.
Okay.
He wasn't mentally ill. He wasn't mentally ill. Now, when the mother comes out and says, but he was a good boy, right? Let me put it to you this way. The Arabs in Iraq have a wonderful saying that goes like this: "Al-Qirid ib'ain umma ghazal," which means the ugliest monkey would look like a beautiful reindeer in the eyes of his mother. Okay? So he's a son, of course he's the best boy.
Right.
What did you expect?
Yeah.
Of course he's the best boy.
So that's a very interesting saying. I like that. So what do you then think of, like, what is your advice to parents? Or I suppose it's too late by then if your parents, if your son or daughter has already left for ISIS or whatever it is. But where do you think Muslim parents are failing in this sense? I mean, if, let's say, for example, I genuinely believe that the parent did not have an idea that their son or daughter.
No, seriously. I agree with you. I'm going to stop you there. Honestly speaking, most parents have no idea. Most Muslim parents have no clue what's happening to their children. Literally. Because the language barrier, the lack of credentials to go have a 9-to-5 job. The father is 24/7 working overtime. The mother is doing some childcare. I don't know what's happening. You know, these businesses that's happening. She's worried about other people's children. Look, seriously, these migrants, one of the main issues they suffer from is that they try to get the household together. They try to pay the heavy mortgage, try to pay the bills. The children have too many wants and needs. They don't speak English. They can't bother about speaking English. They just want a job, work. And the children get indoctrinated. So the father thinks, who is going to raise his son? The mosque or the school? While he makes an earning for the family. That's exactly what happens. And then the mosque turns out to be a bad mosque. The school turns out to be a bad school. The son turns out to be a radical. And then by the time the son's 20, 25 years old, the father can't do anything because the father is now 50, 60 years old. Look at all the terrorists. Their parents are all 60 and above. Right? I'm speaking to you from a social, economic perspective. Parents are very... where were you when this man was a young boy? If he's born in the UK, where were you this whole time? I was working, a taxi driver, overtime. Right. You can't do much. So honestly speaking, the parents... they don't know. Sometimes it's the other way around, not necessarily terrorism. Sometimes it's the other way around. Children fall in love and get married and do things that are completely against Middle Eastern culture. lose their virginity, do things in the West is okay, but in Pakistan and the Arab community doesn't happen. And then boom, they want to get married. Okay, the father will come. When did you guys get to know each other? How fast did this happen? Right? So it's not like in the West. The West is like, hey, mommy, this is my boyfriend. Hey, this is my girlfriend. Okay. And every now and then they change. I dumped him. He did this to me. No, in the West, there's no dump me. If he takes your, in the Middle East, if he takes your virginity, you're gonna stick to him because the parents are gonna. Yeah.
Seal the deal, as they say. So I want to just ask another question by a Patreon who has said, please ask the Imam, if idol worship is the worst sin according to Islam, Zakir Naik says it's the worst, that is worse than terrorism. Does that mean 1 billion Hindus plus are destined to burn in eternal hellfire?
Okay. The majority of humans, let me rephrase this. The majority of Muslims are idol worshippers. The only difference is that the idol has a life and is a talking idol. So the Shia, their idol is Khamenei.
Right.
The other one, their idol is the Mufti of Mecca. The other group, their idol is Hassan Nasrallah. Every group has an idol. The only difference is that this guy talks, and the idol in the time of Muhammad was made of rock or dates.
So,
and not only that, their leader is an idol. The neighbor of their leader is an idol. The wife, the children, they're all idols. Everyone's being idolized, and now they want to pick on the Hindus. We have so many problems within our own religion.
So, according to you, Hindus are not going to hell for being idol.
No way.
Okay.
No way they go to hell. No way.
Well, okay. So you've put over 1 billion people at ease just with that one statement.
God did not create us to burn us. That is a very flawed way of thinking, and that is the Islamist way of thinking. That you either accept Islam or you perish. Nonsense. God did not create us to put us in hellfire. Doesn't work that way. In fact, all religious scriptures, especially the Quran, when they speak about heaven, paradise, they say Jannatun arduha as-samawat wal ard. Was'uha as-samawat wal ard. I can't remember the exact phrase. The point is that paradise is always greater. When describing paradise, it's greater than hellfire. Why? Because the majority of human beings will be going to paradise.
Right. That's very interesting. I've got some more questions here. Do you think that this is a question that we get a lot of the time, and I think there is some truth in it. However, I think it's been maybe exaggerated or manipulated, let's just say. Western foreign policy has created so much destabilization within the Muslim world, whether it's wars or coups in Iran or Iraq or whatever you want to call it, that the West has also a share of responsibility when it comes to creating the environment for these types of people to really flourish. What are your thoughts on that?
No, I disagree. The West did not do it. Certain Westerners did it. Big difference. Big difference between America funding ISIS and Obama funding ISIS. Big difference. America didn't fund ISIS. Obama funded the rebels. Big difference. So we need to differentiate.
So you're saying that Western politicians do it, but I mean, that's a shorthand. I mean, you would say like the Western countries. I mean, we're talking about governments, obviously not citizens of those countries, but the political, accountability. They did these wars, they did these takeovers or coups or whatever it is. And do you think that they have a share of the responsibility in creating these ripe environments for people to manipulate and exploit and be like, okay, these people are your enemy, kafir,
yes, I agree. Yes, I agree. And I agree only with modern times. So in modern times, yes. Because don't forget, Muslims were also conquerors and mashallah, we took over 53 countries. Islam. So Muslims were also interfering. Okay, and even today, Muslims interfere in other Muslims countries. So it's not like it's orange man bad, right? White man very bad. No, 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 no. It's not like that. It's not like that. The UAE interferes in Yemen, Saudi interferes in Yemen, Yemen interferes in another country, they all interfere in Qatar, Iran interferes in Africa. All Muslims are interfering in other people's countries. Right. So everyone's interfering everywhere. But if the big hits, so like, for example, the Iraq war, removing Saddam, ISIS then comes, these things could have been calculated better.
I agree. I think they may not even had the knowledge or even foresight to even perceive that by creating such a vacuum or creating within such instability, you're actually going to have a group that's worse than Al-Qaeda. This is I mean, you even spoke about how your family were affected by ISIS and they actually left Iraq. Could you just speak about that as well? How the direct impact of ISIS on your family?
Well, I'm not the only one. I'm nobody special. I mean, we lost a small number of people from my family, but there are families who you just have the baby left. The whole family is dead.
It's terrible.
And this isn't one incident. There are hundreds of thousands of incidents that take place like this throughout the Middle East. I just think, look, man, politics is politics. Put morality aside. These people don't care. They just care as long as they're safe, everybody else can go to hell. That's how they think.
Okay, so I've got some interesting questions here. One is, I saw on your someone saying that why do you think the Inzamam ul-Haq, the Pakistani cricketer, is a violent man? Was it because he's Pakistani? Something along those lines. Inzamam ul-Haq, the former Pakistani cricketer, was actually a very good cricketer. But I think he became part of the Tablighi Jamaat after. I don't know why there's a growing trend of Pakistani cricketers who do that. But what are your thoughts on the man?
Well, I wrote an article about him. All the evidence is there. He is a radical Islamist, in my opinion, and it has nothing to do with him being a Pakistani. So I've put my evidence there, and all the links are in the article. It's on my website in the writing section, and he can read it.
Okay. One post from your, I think it was from your Facebook, someone showed me, whatever it was, about this guy with a Palestinian tattoo on his neck that I think he slept with a dead person, a corpse. And you said that something about Palestinian values. Or, I mean, could you explain that? Because I was a bit unsure as to where you were going with this post, because I don't really understand it, if I'm honest with you.
I'm being sarcastic.
Okay. Okay, but even then, sorry, go on.
You know how, for example, someone does something wrong, and they say, "Good on ya," good on you. Right. Or in Islam, we say, "MashaAllah, you're representing us very well," with this girlfriend of yours, right? You know how Muslims are like. So I shared the news how he slept with a dead corpse, and I said, representing Palestinian values. It's being sarcastic.
Okay. That's fair enough, because some people
it's not fun. It's not fun if I have to keep putting between brackets sarcasm.
Yeah. Well, listen, Sheikh, in this day and age, it's very hard to determine what is sarcastic or what is real. As you know very well yourself, people take jokes seriously and take serious things in a jokey fashion, whatever way. So I was just trying to clarify. Okay, so someone said about the hell verses, that there are hell verses in the Quran, and it says that soon ye will be vanquished and gathered to hell, and this is talking about non-Muslims or the idolaters. And you mentioned earlier on that Hindus will not burn in hell. How do you reconcile the two?
And the verses that speak about hellfire in the Quran are all based on previous events, speaking to certain communities that Muhammad was in conflict with. That was it. And if you look at the Old Testament, even today, Christians will tell you, believe in Jesus or you will not be saved. Not be saved means what? It means you're not going to go to paradise. That's what it means. What's the other option? Hellfire. That's basically it.
Yeah.
So every religion has a way of putting it. you will not be saved is the nicer way of saying it.
Right. Okay. I want to ask one question, which, by the way, thank you so much for your time. I thought this is, I mean, I hope you're enjoying it because I certainly am. One question is Quranic interpretation. I know this is a big subject, and I don't want to, we can just skirt over this. You said that the Quran is infallible, and the Quran you cannot reform the Quran.
I never said the Quran is infallible. I never said the Quran is infallible.
Okay, that's interesting. So, what is the Quran?
We just spoke earlier about how it wasn't perfect. The goat ate the verse.
Oh, but okay. So, do you believe the goat ate the verse, or do you believe, or are you saying that Bukhari thinks this, or that there are certain hadith collections that say this? But I mean, you as a imam, would you say to your congregation, by the way, a part of the Quran is missing, or would you say,
look,
yeah,
that part there, I don't believe in. So yes, that's Bukhari's words, but also Muslims believe that Satan put words in Muhammad's mouth, and also they believe that, and this is the Shia, they believe that certain verses don't belong in their places in the Quran. They're not in chronological order. So it can't be perfect. Maybe it's good enough, but it's not perfect.
wow, that's very interesting. So even from you're saying a Sunni or Shia perspective, that the Quran is not perfect, because one of the things that we're taught as Muslims that the Quran is like God said this, so why would God get it wrong? I mean,
no, the compilation of it is not perfect. The Quran wasn't written; it was compiled by Uthman.
Yep.
Okay, and before that by Ali, and before that by Fatima. But the Shia, they have the Quran of Fatima, the Quran of Ali, which don't exist. It was just the Quran with the context and dates on the side, which no longer exist. But it was compiled basically before.
Do you think that Quran, or the quote unquote perfect Quran, would be very different from this Quran, or is it just maybe one or two verses?
No, it would be the same verses, just different arrangements. But if you rearrange the verses, then you've got a different context completely.
Oh, 100%. So my question is, if this is the last time God spoke to humanity, surely he would have put in the mechanisms to protect his last message. It's okay, fine.
God never sent books. God never sent books. God sent prophets. God sent messengers and sent prophets.
Sure, but I mean, with the last message, I mean, this is I'm going with the Muslim narrative here, that previous books or messages were lost or corrupted because they weren't protected. They were only for that people at that time. This book is the last time God spoke to Muhammad. Oh, sorry, this is the last time God spoke to humanity via Muhammad. So he would put. So I would have thought that, okay, fine, if this is the last time, surely you would put in the mechanisms to protect that, because then
you see, Islam isn't something special. Islam isn't a new concept. Whatever the Prophet said had already been said before. The only difference is it hadn't come to Arabia. So they had heard of Jesus and Moses. The only thing is this time this prophet was sent to them.
Okay, so let's take the most obvious.
All messages come from the same God. God's not going to change his mind, when speaking to every other prophet.
Okay, so let's say, for example, with the issue of Trinity or shirk, or as Muslims say, like, is Jesus God, Son of God, all that kind of stuff. There's a big difference between that Islam and Christianity when it comes to that doctrine. And this is God's opportunity to clear this up. Is Jesus God? Is he not God? So on and so forth. And the Quran differs from Christianity.
Not all Christians believe Jesus is the Son of God.
Yeah, I agree, but enough of them do to make it an issue, if that makes sense. Enough of them.
What?
So you would expect some clarification in the Quran, and the Quran does clarify what.
It does clarify, but also the Christians of Arabia did not believe that Jesus was the Son of God.
Right. Okay.
They did not. They came with their own Syriani language, which are still existent until today, and their scholars are they're figures who were outcasted by the majority of the Christians, but then they spread Christianity throughout Arabia. They did not believe Jesus was the Son of God.
Okay, so what I'm trying to say is,
But what we agree upon is that Jesus and his message, he is a messenger from God, and his message is the message of God. That's what Muslims and Christians agree on. Whether he was a son of prophet doesn't really make a difference.
that's very interesting, because a lot of Muslims will say that it does make a difference whether you believe he was a man or whether he was half God or son of God or whatever you want to call it. I mean, this from Tawhid, your monotheism, you know, or the way your Aqidah, sorry, differentiates what, I mean, whether you're Muslim or not, whether you believe, I mean, if I was, I mean, if you're an imam and you say, it doesn't matter if Jesus was son of God or not, maybe he was, maybe he wasn't, Muslim be like, is this guy for real? I mean, this is a crucial differentiation between Islam and Christianity. Would you not agree?
Jesus Christ is the Spirit of God, is the soul of God, according to Islam. And his name is Ruhullah. One of Jesus' names is Ruhullah. So I think being the soul and the Spirit of God is much greater than being a son.
Okay, fair enough.
We're actually one step further.
Well, look, fair enough. Now, I want to ask you a question about ex-Muslims. I think somewhere you said that ex-Muslims are jumping ship. And I've heard this not only from yourself, but from other people as well. And I get it. You're saying...
Said what? Sorry? I don't understand that.
That they're jumping ship, that they should stay within Islam and try and reform it, or try and better it, let's say, as opposed to saying...
I don't remember saying that.
I think it was in a Michael Malice interview, but I mean, even if you don't remember saying that, I mean, I would like to ask your opinion now then. What is your thoughts on ex-Muslims leaving Islam and saying it's all made up, it's all nonsense? Is that, in your opinion?
I think I was speaking about myself, saying that I wouldn't leave and I would rather reform. I don't think I would say that about them, no.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, maybe I misunderstood. But in general, how do you think the ex-Muslim approach is good for Islam, or is it bad for Islam? Is it good for Muslims, like what they're doing? Like, for example, you've spoken to the secular jihadists like Armin, Ali, Yasmin, and Faisal. They come out and they say we're not Muslims anymore. We think it's all made up. I'm saying the same thing. Many of the Muslims, ex-Muslims, saying this. Is this a good thing or is it a bad thing in your opinion?
In my opinion, people are free to do whatever they like. Be Muslim, non-Muslim, do whatever you like. In my opinion, if you're asking me in Islam's opinion as a religion, if Islam could talk, I don't think Islam would have a problem with it either. Because let's put it this way: how many people are leaving a day?
How many people, sorry, are leaving it per day?
How many people are leaving Islam a day?
Oh, well, I don't actually know the numbers on that, to be honest.
Let's say 10 people a day.
Okay. Yep, that's fine.
Do you know how many people are being converted into Islam a day?
I don't know that either.
At least 10.
Okay.
So, we're looking at a good balance. I don't think Islam would bother. It's a growing religion. So I don't see why they're killing apostates. Right.
So you vehemently disagree with apostasy laws?
They're my best friends. Ex-Muslims are my best friends. Why would I? No, in fact, they're wonderful people. I've met many of them. Look, let's take one of them, Armin Navabi. Armin and I would disagree on everything. He probably thinks I'm clueless about life and reality. And I disagree with him too. I think he needs to get a grip of himself. Me and him, we'll sit and we will have a coffee and we'll walk in Times Square. We'll hug. We'll take pictures. He's my friend. I would defend him. I would do anything I can to protect him. But we will disagree with each other on everything. That is the beauty of dialogue. When I say I'm a man of peace, it's not an achievement to be sitting with a Muslim. It's an achievement to sit with an ex-Muslim and show the world that I can sit with you while I disagree with you completely. I don't hate you, but I will always disagree with you and I will always love and protect you. All right?
I very strongly agree with that. Absolutely.
Muslims. No, me and them We go out, we eat, we drink from the same cup. You know what Muslims are like? We drink from the same cup. In fact, in the interview I had when Armin was moderating, I think once or twice I drank from his cup by accident. I think so.
Wow.
And I didn't even bother, especially when they took the cups to go get them filled. Haqiqa Jew had his eyes on his cup. I couldn't care less. I would drink from any cup. Why? Because they're my brothers. Even they're my brother at the end of the day.
Absolutely. So speaking of Daniel Haqiqa Jew, and we have people in the UK. Have you heard of Muhammad Hijab, who had this debate with David Wood? Very big deal. Are you familiar with him, and what are your thoughts on him, if you are familiar?
Muhammad Hijab, and this is the first time I speak about him. We have a saying in Iraq. It's amazing, and it applies to this guy 100%.
Okay.
طول النخلة أكل الصخلة, which basically means his height is the height of a palm tree. His brain is the brain of a goat. Wow,
that is one hell of a. I need to get hold of this book of Iraqi sayings because they're full of gems. Okay, could you expand on that, or is that all you want to say on Muhammad Hijab?
That's all I have to say. What else do I say? There's a guy who came at his ex-boyfriend or something. I'm not sure if that's real or not.
Sorry, ex-boyfriend?
I don't know. Just, are you on YouTube?
Yeah.
Yeah, Google YouTube Muhammad Hijab boyfriend or something. It's funny clip.
Muhammad Hijab boyfriend. Well, this is not something which I would normally Google. Okay, YouTube boyfriend.
Ex-boyfriend something. I've seen it. It was a link on YouTube. Hold on, let me get it.
Ex-boyfriend. So wait, are you saying that he is a?
Oh, here we go. It's called. It's got actually 1,000 views. My message to Muhammad Hijab, MOHAMMAD Hijab.
Right.
Check that out. My message.
Oh, Modine. This guy.
No. This guy.
Whoa.
Can you see it?
Well, that's very interesting. So wait, are you saying that that's his boyfriend?
Here, listen to him. Listen to him.
Hi, Muhammad Hijab. Remember me? I heard that you've become religious now. Well, I'm sure you still like me.
Man, I don't know. And he kisses his picture at the end. Look at this. He holds his picture up.
Wow.
Look, I don't know what's happening, but these guys, their Khalifa was homosexual. They could be homosexual. I don't know. But he's a nobody anyway.
So I don't even know how to move on from that. It's a pretty big bombshell you just dropped there. So, okay. When you say he's...
I'm not accusing him of being gay. Look, he's free. If he's gay, he's free to be gay. Just don't throw other people off buildings if you're gay.
Okay, fair enough. I'm not sure how to wrap that.
I sent you the link. I can't remember who sent it to me.
Okay.
I was tagged on Twitter.
Oh, I see.
Tagged on Twitter, and then I saw this. I'm like, what? And then I read Muhammad Hijab, and I opened it, and I saw this guy, and I said, nah, this can't be real. And then when I started kissing the picture,
Well, I'm not okay. Muhammad Hijab, if you're watching, I'm not saying you are gay or not gay. I'm not saying anything. I'm not trying to whatever.
Well, he's free to be gay. He's free
if that's your thing, bro, more power to you. More power to you.
Being gay like your Caliph Omar.
Oh, so you believe that the Caliph Umar was a homosexual?
Of course he was gay. Of course he was gay.
Could you elaborate? This is
Of course. لا يشفى إلا بماء الرجال. He was absolutely addicted to anal sex. The father-in-law of Prophet Muhammad. Khattab. Of course. أكمل يا رجل ولا تعد لمثلها. These are the famous sayings of his caliph. I don't care less about the sectarian nonsense. Our caliphs were gay. Am I Khalifa too? Wouldn't Umar say that I'm the caliph over Tawhidi and the whole Muslim Ummah? Khalas, he's my caliph. He was gay. I'm speaking about my own caliph.
Wow. Okay, so I'm just taking this in.
And he was brave. I'm not attacking Umar. I'm not attacking Umar for being gay. I'm saying
you are such a homophobe.
Brave.
You're such a homophobe.
He's brave to be openly gay in a society. Good on him. I encourage him. Inshallah, all of the gay Muslims come out and say, we follow Umar. I don't care. I don't care. Khamenei could be, there are sayings that he is. Wow. I'm not sure. Maybe. I'm not sure. There are rumors. I'm not sure. Not 100%.
Okay. This is amazing. Okay, I'm gonna. Okay, look. Many Sunnis right now are, they want to, I don't know what they want to do, but they're saying, Imam Tawhidi, you're playing the sectarian card again. You hate Umar. You're just gonna go after him and slander him, call him gay, and this is a very below the belt kind of tactic. What do you have to say about this?
Look, this is a very cheap way, like I said, very simple way of discrediting me. I'm telling you he was gay. You say he's not. Okay, khalas, I have my evidences. You have your evidence. Goodbye. It's as simple as that.
So, I mean, how do you evidence for him being gay? I mean, is there like a...
Yeah, no, real evidence. I can send it to you. Not a joke.
Seriously? Like
yes.
What, in a hadith or something?
Yes, in a book, a very famous book called Al-Aqd al-Farid. So, by Al-Andalusi. Write it down, Al-Aqd al-Farid by Al-Andalusi.
Oh wow, okay, this is the first. Al-Aqd al-Farid.
They're Sunni scholar. He says it. I'm only quoting. Aqd al-Farid, I'll send it to you if you like later on. And yep. He's not a real Muslim. He's all of this nonsense.
Okay, fair enough. This is the first time I'm hearing this. I don't even know how to respond. But I want to ask you a question about when you describe yourself as a fundamentalist. You said at one point in time you were a fundamentalist and you were an Islamist, right? But then you changed your mind. Now, when you were an Islamist, how were your teachers or students or friends or family or whatever, how did they respond? Were they like, what you're doing is wrong, what you're doing is right? And when you have changed your opinion...
I was raised in an Islamist society. Everyone around me was an Islamist. I couldn't tell... There was no other option for me to tell that this is different than me. Everyone was the same.
I see.
From school to work to studying, all Islamist.
And when you changed your opinions, how did they respond? Was it positive, negative, or was it complete rejection?
No, my de-radicalization, I've written about it in my book. It didn't happen like this, like, okay, I'm not part of you anymore. No. It didn't happen like that. Gradually, it was a very long and lonely period.
And people around you, they didn't take to your words and they were like, this guy, No,
you just keep making friends in other circles and then leaving these people behind and developing in a different direction.
Okay.
When my brother, look, when changing, let's be very realistic. When changing into a different person, you need to secure certain things. One is your income, right? Many people, they will never leave the hardline ideology because that's where their income comes from. Their parents take care of them, or the husband takes care of her, or he needs the in-laws. Why? Because he lives off of them. So he needs to secure that. When that is secure, then they become audacious and they have their own opinion. But if you're waiting for someone to pay you, you will never upset that someone, whether it be your parents, your Muslim society, the Muslim employer. That's what it's like. I've never had a problem, like that. Yes, I was homeless for a period of time in Iran, but that was because of the government pressure against me. But other than that, I have always been financially able to hold myself together, never beg, money from anyone or anything like that. All of my projects that you see today, I fund myself. All of them.
Wow.
I even plane tickets. The majority of everything I cover myself. So I've never been in a position where a mosque can tell me what I can and cannot say, where someone can bribe me or anything like that. I've never been in that position. So it's very easy for me to leave. I don't need to hold on to anyone. I can feed myself and I can have my own job. I'm qualified in my own fields and I can do whatever I want to do in life, and nobody will tell me what to do. Most of the imams who are silent because the mosque pays them, and if the mosque director doesn't like them, then they're out. Another imam will come in. So the pay determines how the imam will act. I don't have that. I say whatever I like. If I was in a contract today with a mosque, I would never tell you that I think Umar ibn Khattab was gay. I would never say that. Caliph of the Muslims, can't never say that. But because I don't depend on an imam to pay me or a mosque to pay my salary, I can say whatever I like.
Right. That's very interesting. Now, people are saying in the comment section, what are your opinions on Imam Ali and Imam Hussein? Do you think? I'm assuming that Shias also believe that they are infallible. Is that correct?
Correct. Shias believe that.
So, are they morally on the same level as Muhammad or below, morally speaking?
No, they're below Muhammad. No, Imam Ali and Imam Hussein are below Muhammad. So,
maybe this is just educational for me. When you say that they are infallible, how do you differentiate the infallibility of?
They're infallible in the sense that they have their own. They look. Each one of them has a mission. In Shia theology, the Prophet has a role, Ali has a role as a successor, Hussein has a role as the other successor, who comes after Hassan. But the Prophet's role is to bring Islam. Then he will need the tools and the resources to be able to do that. So his infallibility would include less tolerance and no errors, no mistakes, will not druze and just say nonsense. That will never make sin or error in public or in private. So that's the apparent view and image of a prophet. He will never talk nonsense in public. He'll never forget things. These are the tools and the resources the prophet needs as a messenger. So theology, Islamic theology says he is infallible in that sense with what concerns the message. However, he can't have tolerance, too much patience, because if he's too patient, then he can't fight. Do you see what I mean? So there are certain things that, based on their roles, they'll be infallible in certain areas and have less infallibility in other areas. You and I are infallible. For example, if you saw urine, you would not drink it because you have enough knowledge to protect yourself from drinking urine, right? I hope so. So that is a level of infallibility. That's probably the lowest level of infallibility, right? Where you can ya'samu nafsah, the human being makes a shield between himself and the outside world and protect himself. That's a basic of infallibility, and it derives from the knowledge of the inside of what you are dealing with. So I know, for example, I know the harm of drinking urine, therefore I can protect myself from drinking urine. Now, a higher level of infallibility would be the Prophet knowing the consequences of such a sin, therefore he would not sin. You see, it's knowledge in what we are dealing with. Now, Ali has a completely different role. In fact, Ali's role is more important than the role of the Prophet, because the Prophet brings the message and leaves. Ali is the one that spreads it down. to his sons and descendants and offspring until the end of time. So Ali's role is more important than the Prophet's. So, but rank-wise, Prophet will always be higher. So Ali has his own characteristics, and Hussein has his own characteristics, and so on and so forth.
I mean, that's very interesting. That I mean, you said that although the Prophet is a prophet, but the role of Ali is more important than that of the Prophet. But in history, according to what we know, that Ali was not the first caliph, and he was the fourth. And even when he was the caliph, he had a lot of trouble because people were trying to destabilize his rule and whatnot. So if his role was more important in a political sense or in cementing down Islam, again, I would say the same way I asked you about how come it wasn't protected by God. I mean, if his role was more important, surely he would have been the first caliph. God would have made it happen or allowed it to happen. Why did that not happen?
Okay, someone having a role does not mean they will always be successful.
Yeah. But I mean, this is God's quote-unquote plan. So
what if it's God's plan? Isn't it God's plan? Put your Muslim hat on and speak to me as a Muslim.
Okay.
Bismillah.
Isn't
it God's plan that everyone becomes Muslim?
Inshallah.
No, honestly. Didn't he sent Muhammad as a prophet, and he told him to spread Islam everywhere? Or why isn't the world all Muslim? Because
okay. So I'm putting my Muslim hat on. The difference is that is a potential which could happen. Potentially, Muslims, everyone could be, but this is history. This has already happened. If that makes sense.
No, doesn't work like that. In fact, the main reason why the invasions and the conquests of Islam happen is because they believed it had to happen now. The whole world had to become Muslim now. That's why they set off, in their conquests and their invasions. They don't think, look, do you know why we have people doing da'wah today 24/7?
Why?
Because they believe now you should be Muslim. Now. Not hopefully later on. It's now. It's a thing of now.
Okay, but okay. So are you saying that God said everyone should be Muslim, and that hasn't happened?
No, look. When God sends a message, what does that mean? Believe in my message. That's basically what it means.
Yeah. But I'm saying that the Dawah people, where are they getting this message from? That they have to convert everyone now. Is it God?
The same teachings of the caliphs, the same trend.
Right.
Just in a more smaller version. So before, it was going into a village, show off strength with your horses and your army and saying you will be Muslim. Now they come to you with a suit and tie. Do you think the universe was created by God like that? And before they used to stink, now they wear Dior and these nice perfumes, right? And it just different tactics. That's basically what it is.
Okay, Imam, I know I've taken so much of your time. Can we just? I mean, let me know how you are for time. If you want to wrap it up, please let me know because you've been very generous.
I've got like 10 minutes.
10 minutes. All right. What we're gonna do? People have been waiting patiently, asking so many questions of the Imam. I will go through the comment section and just look at the best questions and address them to you. Let's have almost like a quick fire sort of kind of thing where we just go, very, very brief answers to these questions. Question number 1. How does Imam reconcile cosmological and ontological arguments that don't satisfy God's existence?
Right. I don't deal with theology a lot. I deal with society more than theology. And whenever I'm dealing with society, I like to use lots of quotations and then prove them wrong.
Okay. This is a question saying, ask the Imam about his fellow Shia over Bayt al-Ghadir if you are going to bring up hijab.
Okay. Well, I have nothing to do with Bayt al-Ghadir. I think, they need to get their act together. And I think they're absolutely delusional, some of them. I have nothing to do with them. I know who they are. I don't speak to them. I have nothing to do with them. They're just a group of people with a YouTube channel. Good luck to them.
Okay. Would the Imam be willing to join Richard Dawkins to promote skepticism within the Muslim community?
Ooh, I'll see. Depends on the security.
Okay. What do you think Muhammad having had orange hair from the henna? Yeah, what do you think of the orange hair and the the whole tradition of dyeing your hair or putting the henna on and it goes orange or red or whatever?
No real evidence for that.
Okay, fair enough. Ask US withdrawal from Syria. Oh yeah, so what do you make about that? Do you think they should withdraw or stay there?
Look, I think Donald Trump knows what he's doing. I think he's withdrawing for another political reason. I think now he wants to focus more on Iran. So I'm not 100% sure what his plans are, but his Secretary of State looks like he's focusing more on Iran.
Okay. Someone has said here, ask the Imam about his credentials, under which institution and scholar he studied and got certified.
All on my website in the licenses page.
All in the last bit. Now, this has been a recurring comment by different people saying, can you tell Sacha Baron Cohen to take off his mask?
Me and him, we really need the selfie one day.
I'm not convinced. I think it's like a Clark Kent and Superman kind of thing. I mean, once you take that off, it's, yo, I is here with none other than my main man, Ali G, when he does that thing. Oh, I used to love Ali G back in the days. He's my favorite character. But there you go. Okay, so we've got some questions here saying, what does he think of Ismaili Muslims?
Just like every other school of thought, they have my respect as long as they're peaceful. And I look forward to meeting with them.
Okay, so there's not any sort of theological...
I'm a reformist. I do not care what people believe. Believe in your stone as long as you don't stone me with it.
Okay, I got a question here saying something about you said that the Ahmadis in Pakistan were, I think it was persecuted.
Ahmadi Muslims are liars and they're not peaceful people. And I've proven that in my book. They're liars and they're not peaceful people. And they are the top enemies of Jesus Christ. And they fight each other. They come love for all, hatred for none. Nonsense. All of their imams run away from me. All of them. Look, this is the tactic of Ahmadiyya Muslim. Talk, walk away. Wow. They will never sit with you face to face. Their caliph is a liar. Their caliph, look, I was the first to visit them. I was the first to visit them in Adelaide. And they were very happy someone had visited them. Okay? And it was all over the news and outreach. And they gave me their books. I read their books. These guys are out of their mind. They want to conquer. They believe in a caliphate. They have a caliph and they want to conquer. What's a khilafah? What is a khilafah? Just the online Twitter khilafah. They actually have a caliph. They want to take over. Oh, the Messiah has come. Yeah, good luck to you and your Messiah. No, I don't respect them. They're hypocrites.
So someone was saying that you said that they were being violent towards other Ahmadis in Lahore. Is that correct? Or
nonsense, man. Nonsense. The Ahmadis divided. Some of them didn't like the current caliph. They're the Lahori Ahmadis. So they had conflict between each other. And they wiped them out completely. And now they're saying they don't exist. Because you wiped them out, that's why they don't exist. A minority of them. And then some of them reverted back to the current mainstream Ahmadiyya. Look, Ahmadiyya are Muslim. I don't say they're not Muslim. I say they're Muslim, but they're confused.
Okay. Fair enough. What does the Imam Tawhidi think of the verse of the Quran where it says to amputate the thieves' hands?
No, it does not apply. You know why?
Why?
Because how are you going to amputate the guy's hand when one of the main points of sujood, of prayer, the prostration, the forehead, right? The hands, the knees, the toes. We have certain parts that need to touch. If you chop a guy's hand, how is he going to pray? Then they come with the interpretation, you chop only the fingers. Nonsense.
So why is that in the Quran then?
I don't know. You ask them.
No, but what I'm saying is, if it's an Islamic requirement for your hands and head or whatever it is to be touching, then you're kind of saying that God gave the wrong punishment for Seek for
I have no comment on these issues. I just use my brain. My brain tells me this doesn't work. It doesn't work. Simple.
Okay.
Pressure. Who's pressuring you to chop anyone's hand? No one.
Well, I mean, many Muslims, even liberal Muslims or whatever you want to call them, would say they may say this doesn't apply now, but it did apply in the past. This is a thing.
In Saudi Arabia. It applies in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Applies in many countries in modern time. All what I'm saying is, so what if they do it? It doesn't mean it's right.
But I mean, their defense would be it's in the Quran. So
what? Doesn't the Bukhari say the Muhammad was delusional? So what?
So are you saying that?
I say logic first.
Logic first. Okay, but I mean, what about lashes as well then?
Don't exist.
But I mean, that's in the 100 lashes in the Quran for the adulterer and so on and so forth.
Delusions, my friend.
But
man.
But so are you saying that the Quran includes delusions?
Yeah, it could.
Sheikh, you have thrown a curveball right at the end. I don't even honestly. So you're saying that the Quran could potentially include delusions?
Brother, if they're telling me Aisha is the mother of the believers according to the Quran, and she's slept with half of Arabia, you worried about a few lashes? It's a book. Get over it. It's a book. Oh, it's not God speaking.
Wait, the Quran is not God. Wait, okay, I understand. I'm with you on the Hadith. I'm putting my Muslim hat on. I'm saying I'm with you on the Hadith, Sheikh. Yeah, Sheikh. I'm with you on the Hadith. But the Quran, surely that is the word of God. How can that be full of delusion or any error? You know.
Look. I'm not saying that the Quran is full of delusion. No, I'm saying the sacred book says so.
No, but I'm saying, would it even include one delusion? Forget about full of, even half a delusion, even the shadow of a delusion.
You're asking a Shia Muslim.
Yeah.
Shia Muslims believe in the end of time a savior will come with the Quran and a new religion. That is the true religion. So clearly, the one we have isn't the true religion.
Wow. Okay. This genuinely, this is the first time I'm hearing this, so I'm just trying to.
No, all Muslims believe a savior will come with a book.
Oh no!
The second coming of Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
will he not come with the Bible? It's going to be a bit different. So if it's a bit different, that means the one we have has a problem in it. Okay, fair enough.
Just a few more questions. I know. What do you want to call it? Your time is very precious. What is Imam Tawhidi's view? Okay, we've just answered this question. So my question is, why do you follow Islam if there are things that are not complete or things that could be wrong? I mean, so my question: what are you getting from Islam that you can't? I mean, if there's something good within Islam, just accept it. But why do you have to accept the whole framework? If you're saying that it includes some things that are wrong or incomplete, why be a Muslim in the first place?
Look, I believe in God. I believe in all of God's prophets. I'm a man of Abrahamic faith. And what came in the Quran came in the Bible, came in the Torah as well. So I don't see what the problem is from there. Any man-made issues, I completely reject. It's basically it.
Fair enough. Okay, Sheikh, do you have any final words about either your book, your mission, or your objective? Any final words? If you could speak directly to the Muslims right now, what would be your message?
I wouldn't speak to the Muslims because we spoke a lot. I speak with them every day. Okay. After this, I dress up and I go and I lead prayers. So I'm with them every single day. So you might go do something else, start your day. I go back to the Muslim community. So I speak with them every day. But through this, you need to know that there are many things I wish I could say, but I can't. And there will be people that say, well, he's hiding things. No, I'm not hiding things. I'm just too smart to say them and get killed. So that's basically it. And I felt that numerous times in this interview. Zero times in Dave Rubin's interview, not once, because we spoke about more modern issues.
Right.
But with Islamic theology, there are many things we can't say. If you want to stay.
Well, firstly, I would never want anything to happen to you in any way. You know, that's not my intention to put you in a difficult position. If I have done so, I please apologize. Or
you can't put me in that position in the first place. So imams only become imams because they are well trained to get themselves out of difficult situations. So I know how to do that.
okay.
I know how to save my life in this case.
Okay, fair enough. Imam Tawhidi, it has been an absolute pleasure, an absolute blast. This has been.
You
probably...
say, thank you very much. Thank you for your kind words. I can make you say things from Skype. I can make you look. This is how much imams are trained. I can make you say things without even asking you to say them.
Okay. I'm not sure I understand. What do you mean, like I'm not sure I understand what you mean by that.
You're not sure?
No. What do you mean say things by not even... Sorry, I'm really confused. You can make me say things without forcing me, you're saying?
Right. Okay. Tell me something about your life.
I like sports. I like cricket, football. I don't know, whatever.
Cricket?
Yeah. I'm Pakistani. I know Arabs don't like cricket, whatever it is, but yeah.
Okay. Why did you explain to me about Pakistan, Arabs, and cricket? Did I ask you about them? All I said was cricket.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's just basic questioning, right? I mean, or am I missing something?
Okay. This is what I just did. You said cricket. I responded with cricket.
Yeah.
And then you went into the whole Pakistan thing. I never asked you to explain to me about Pakistan and the Arabs. Did you get what I mean?
I see what you're saying. So, but is this like, are you saying that the imams have this ability to...
This was very basic. This was nothing. But in many times, I could easily apply certain tactics, make you speak for ages. You even forget the question that you asked me. Right? I could do that, but I don't. I really don't. But do you know who does that? Linda Sarsour. She's really well trained. She's really well trained.
but I mean, she's not an imam, right? So how does she have that ability?
How does she have that ability?
To get people to say things without even...
You just did it again. All I had to do was repeat one word.
I'm falling into this trap. I don't know if it's too early in the morning or I haven't had coffee, whatever it is. But Imam, honestly, I've really appreciate you coming on. And if you're ever in the UK in the future, I would love to have a sit down with you again and have some, halal kebabs or whatever it is, and have some nice tea.
We should go vlog near the Saudi embassy. We won't
that would be very interesting. I would be on that. I would be on that, absolutely. That would be one hell of a trip. So that I just want to thank you one more time. I want to thank all the people that are watching this live stream. It's been very interesting for me to host this, for you guys commenting with your questions and statements. Imam, thank you once again. I want to plug in the Imam's book, the Tragedy of Islam. It's by Imam Tawhidi. If you're interested in his views and his opinions, please check out his book. I believe you can buy it on Amazon and pretty much everywhere.
Thank you.
Around the world. So thank you once again, guys. I will see you again in the future. And Imam Tawhidi, thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.
Pleasure, my brother. Wa alaikum salam. Goodbye.
Bye.